or evening, depending on where you are. Today, I want to just take some time to shout out to my good friend Anna. Anna is crazy awesome. She's struggling a bit. COVID, I believe, is what ended up shutting down her old business. But I'm here to tell y'all she's got a new one. If you're located in Colorado and you're interested in psilocybin, it is legal there. And Anna's working with a doctor that can prescribe it. These words may not be correct. This is not legal advice. So the way that works there is you go and you get a consultation, and a doctor has to be there, just like kind of like cannabis. Well, cannabis on the medical side. Cannabis on the medical side, you have to get a doctor recommendation, and then you're allowed to purchase the amounts that the doctor allows. I think it's rather similar to psilocybin. You go to a doctor, they confirm it for you. But shout out to Anna. If you have any questions, just shoot me a DM. I'll connect you with her, and she can tell you the whole process. I don't exactly know what it is. I don't do psilocybin. I have no idea how it works, other than the studies and personal recommendations I've heard. I don't know, but it's kind of fascinating. Um, this goes for the whole group. Let's just loop cannabis, psilocybin, what a peyote being studied right now, ketamine. Used to be, I don't really know, but ketamine is now showing signs of helping people with depression, anxiety. But one of the biggest things out of all those is PTSD. I know microdosing psilocybin has had a few studies released that say that it helps with PTSD. That's fascinating. PTSD can come from lots of things. It's not just war anymore. We're finding out PTSD can come from terrible events in your childhood, terrible events in your adolescence. And so being able to overcome your trauma rather than live with it is fascinating. I know there's like 23 veterans that commit suicide every day. I don't know how accurate that number is, but that's crazy. We got these guys that laying their lives on the line for us. You can be pro or for whatever war you want. I don't care. But bottom line is we got people signing up, willing to risk their lives for us. And then we're, I guess, not treating them so bad, but not helping them enough where that they think the best option is suicide. That's not very fucking thankful to the people that keep us safe. So that's a fascinating thing. If we can figure out how to microdose, microdosing psilocybin supposedly doesn't give you the psychedelic effects. You eat too little of it, but it does give you the medical effects, which is crazy. It's almost like cannabis. I mean, some people, they eat cannabis, little tiny bits every day. Cannabis, where I have a much more knowledge, I have watched and seen people cure cancer and Crohn's disease and seizures and epilepsy, thousands of things that people have come in, people in wheelchairs that no longer need wheelchairs, people that the state of Colorado has determined we're going to die within 6 months, live for years. Seen tons of things with cannabis. Crazy things I could talk all day about. I can probably, if I spent a week, I could name 1,000 people I've met in my life that have had less than 10 years to live and have used cannabis to extend that. Long list. So now here's the real question. If cannabis is so good and healthy for us, what about the other natural drugs? What about, was it MDMT? I don't know enough about it. What about ayahuasca, peyote? Things that ayahuasca has been Peruvian shaman have been using that for hundreds of years. What about peyote that Native Americans have been using forever to help cure things? And it's not even physical health, right? We're talking even mental health, anxiety. We mentioned PTSD, depression. Depression's huge. Psilocybin, mushrooms, and microdosing for depression. And the whole thing about microdosing is you don't get the psychedelic effects. You just get the physical benefits. So it doesn't even get you high. Yeah, no, I mean, I've never tried it, so I don't know yet. One day I will. One day. Maybe. We'll see. It's been a long time of me not doing it, so we'll see if I ever need it. But, and then you also have the social effects, right? Social health. Get together, smoke a joint, talk about the day, whatever. A social activity. The number one social activity out there is food. Go get some dinner together, get dinner and drinks, whatever. But smoking a J, having a cigar, or having some food and a blunt before or whatever. But the social health. So it's interesting how psilocybin is growing now. And we just did a huge episode on psychedelics. Met a woman in a wheelchair that does 5 grams of mushrooms every day for her physical health. And I don't want to speak too much about, I we on my show we only meet them for a half hour, so I didn't get her whole story. But the bottom line was that she uses mushrooms for her physical ailments in order to move and get up. I believe she said she can walk when she has mushrooms. Um, and like she said, it like rockets her out of her chair, springs her out of her chair, something of that sort. So now what do we do? Well, we probably need more research. I don't think there's a whole lot of confirming research. There's good amounts of research on cannabis, and its physical health uh, benefits. Psilocybin, there's a somewhat amount. I think ketamine is getting a good amount now. I think I've even heard of a couple LSD studies going on. So it's just getting fascinating how all these somewhat natural. I don't really remember if ketamine is natural. I don't know how it's produced, but I mean, psilocybin is natural. We grow mushrooms. Cannabis is natural. We grow it organically. We grow it. There's nothing really. The way we grow cannabis is just like anyone would grow tomatoes. Same exact process. Perfectly natural. What's ibogaine is another new one I've heard of. LSD, and that's acid, right? I think LSD is acid. But it's fascinating how all these things are happening, right? So now I'm on a super reserved island. This island, like if you walk down these streets and you were like, "Oh, I'm on acid," they would like shun you and send you to the insane asylum. In Denver, you walk down the streets with acid, and they're like, "Hey, can I get some?" Oh, that's so cool! Like it's just a huge dichotomy of cultures. And so it's not that big here. But one thing my island does have is I find my island to be way more spiritual. So there's a lot of spiritual retreats. I believe some of them do psilocybin. Not entirely sure. I'd have to double check on that as well. As you can tell on this live, I don't have a whole lot of information. Um, yeah, it's got a little bit outside my realm. But, anyways, if you want more answers, I mean, I know people in psychedelics, especially Anna, who I shouted out earlier. And so she is starting her business in the psilocybin industry. Got her licenses from Colorado and is now having doctor consultations for people interested in that treatment, which is cool. Here's what I love about it. First off, it's not pharmaceuticals. And we all know, whatever you believe, not many people think pharmaceuticals are the best thing for us. Second, it's natural. Third, it's something that you can like reproduce. You don't need a chemical lab. You can like literally just keep growing it in like your kitchen or basement or extra room. So you can have your own medicine grown at home, which to me is super cool and super fun. I grow my own microgreens. I would love if everyone could turn their homes into like their gardens and just provide all their health right there. That would be really cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. You just, all right, I need to make a salad. Okay, this is all ready. Here's all my, cucumbers and carrots and whatever. And then here's my, oh man, I'm feeling a little depressed. Here's a tiny bit of a mushroom, or here's a tiny bit of this or that, or ibogaine. I don't know enough about ibogaine. I'm going to go find out. So, shout out Anna. Shout out to whoever does psychedelics if you so do. If you do it for social health, cool. If you do it for spiritual health, if you take a full dose or whatever and you go like get lost in your mind and you have someone there to guide you through a spiritual journey, good for you. It sounds freaking awesome. If it can help answer questions or at least ask better questions, maybe you don't get answers. Maybe you get more questions. Whatever it is, there's definitely a spiritual aspect to it. I know a lot of people do it on spiritual retreats, this and that. They have peyote retreats and ayahuasca retreats in the US. All sorts of fun stuff. It's a fascinating little industry, but congrats, shout out to Anna. Congrats on your new psilocybin company. And if you have any questions on it, shoot me a DM or comment on this, and I will get you contact info in Colorado, I believe.